One of the questions I keep getting asked time and again in a lot of leadership workshops or the coachings that I do is, Ravi, have you lost faith in yourself at any point of time? If so, how have you dealt with it? That's one of the most popular questions I keep getting asked. And the second question, which I also keep getting asked, is how did you believe in yourself? Now, these are the two questions which probably you also might be able to relate with: believability in ourselves and do we lose faith? Yes, I did have my own fair points in my life, or probably a little unfair points in my life, where I have took some decisions which were uh, against the popular norms, I would say, or against the societal norms, if you were to call it. Now, one such decision which I had taken many summers back was to drop from something which was all set to succeed in a traditional manner, in a very, very traditional setting where the job was great, where what I was doing was brilliant. There is a definite security to it. However, I was somebody who always felt, and I asked this question to myself: do I want to do this for my entire life, or do I have to take a step that would give me that probably that moment in space to do something different, to do something that I really love? When I have taken this decision, believe you me, I felt everyone around me, especially the close ones, would believe in me, would believe in my thought, will believe in my vision. However, my dear friends, I was wrong. And probably if you're watching this video till this particular point of time, and since you have asked this question, you also must have been facing this probably awkward moment or an anxious moment where you begin to question yourself. That's right, you begin to question yourself. And if you do not handle that situation well, we are going to slowly slide into the world of despair. Now, what did I do when I encountered this self doubt within myself? Because people around me were not believing in my vision. And when this happened, I started doubting myself, and my own believability tanked. And it showed in my body, it showed in the way that I was interacting with people, and it does show up. So what did I do to regain my believability? The number one thing probably that I did was I started reading books. I started meeting people who went through the same experience, and they mentioned one thing which really stuck in my life, and that one thing is self belief. And for
Action.
as I was talking about the believability aspect, and as you asked me this right question about did I ever lose my believability, which I shared, yes, I did lose my own self belief. Primarily, it was triggered because when I've taken this major decision in my life, this was, probably it's a story for a different day, story for a different time. If you want to know that complete story, you can drop me a message, and I'm going to share a little more about that backstory of when did I lose my self believability or self belief in myself. Was at the time when I have taken probably the biggest decision of my life, and it was triggered by not getting enough support of people whom I always believed that who would rally behind me, who would support me, who would encourage me. I never got that, and this cascaded multiple times. This was not a one-off incident or one-off action, I would say. This started to happen time and again. Even to be honest, my parents were not at all comfortable with the decision that I have taken. There was a lot of angst within the family, and that broke my heart, and that self-doubt started creeping in. Did I actually take the right decision or not? Was a constant question which was playing in my mind. And what did I do to overcome that? As mentioned a couple of seconds or probably a minute back, I started reading books. I started looking up to people who have lost their own self-belief and regained their own self-belief. What did they do? They changed the environment. They moved away from a place where it was just not happening, because you just simply cannot nurture your thoughts. You cannot simply go on a different tangent if we are stuck in our old environment. What does old environment mean? So as I was mentioning, I did change the environment. Now, if you start questioning yourself, or if your self-belief is at an all-time low, probably one of the things that you ought to do, or you have to do, or perhaps I insist you should do, is change the environment that you are surrounded with. This might be the people whom you're surrounded with, because there's a popular saying, right? You become the people whom you surround with. Now, if you are surrounded by naysayers, your believability is going to tank down, which will impact your personality, which will impact your character, which will impact your confidence. Once these three things are lost, it's very, very difficult to recover. Now, if you're someone who's looking for a bright, for a probably for a future which is congruent to what you believe in, and if your believability is tanking, I would advise you to change the environment. Now that's number one. Number two, I think this is where it becomes beautiful. Once you change the environment, once you are in a new place, of course there are a lot many dynamics in play, which will also give you enough time to pick and choose whom do you ally with. That's right. Who do you want to work with? What are the projects that are exciting in a new environment? Of course, there's always this overriding fear, and this fear connects to the second part of the question, faith. So fear and faith, they have a unnacky connection, which I'm going to share in a while. So the number two aspect is, why have I taken this decision? Now you need to go back. I went back into why did I take that decision. The decision was to lead the life. The decision was to choose the life that I want to do for the next couple of decades, which would, one, give me peace, two, give me a lot of sanity here, three, which will have my creative juices probably flowing, and doing so would help me serve better. Now, I firmly believed in the cause. I looked at it, it was my guiding North Star. So having a guiding North Star is super important to bring back your believability, because that all the actions that you're going to take will be based on where do you want to go. That's the direction. If you do not have a clear direction, you're going to be lost, you're going to be overwhelmed. Life will all of a sudden look super confused. Now, my dear friends, I really want you to, number one, as I said, change the environment, fix your North Star, do these two things, and you will get your believability back. That's right. So now, the second question is, did I ever lose faith? Yes, I did lose faith, and as I mentioned earlier, faith and believability, they're in a sort interconnected with each other, and it is not a great space to be when you lose faith. So faith, I would define faith as something that we hang on to. Probably some people call it a higher power, some people would call it a higher calling. For me, I figured out multiple ways to get my faith back into myself to function at 100% level. So if I am functioning at 100% level, by what are the steps that I have taken that would build the faith in me? And what did I do? I traveled all across. I went into the mountains to figure out what the hell is exploring all about.
Pause.
When I was to regain faith, as mentioned, I did multiple things. One of the things that stuck to me was travel. I traveled far and wide, and it was not just a regular travel. I included travel which would build a new discipline in me, which means going into the mountains, hiking, trekking, because this was something not normal to me. And when I did these things, it restored faith in me, because the mountains, when I was there, when I was all by myself, I could see a lot of dots which were just being connected. The nature has its answers, and I rested my faith on the nature. I rested my faith on the mighty mountains, the mighty Himalayas. Probably a lot of you know my work to be done in the mountains. Some of you even call me the Himalayan coach. Probably that was the reason why, where I found actually my higher calling, where I could, when I look at the majestic Himalayas in the backdrop, I figured out how insignificant am I. I had to drop my ego, because dropping the ego and believing in something higher, that's when faith builds up. That's when life starts happening to you, rather than we tend to make life happen. And that was a switch that I have done. It can be something else for you. However, all I would say is for you to regain your faith back, do something, experiment, and I'm sure you're going to figure out your own faith, and you can always go back to it again and again. It's a continuous process. Life, as we all know, it's very dynamic. It will have a lot of variables, and that's exactly the reason the only constant is faith. If you're able to figure out what your faith is, it's going to be a very well lived life. Thank you.